Okay, so we're back with part two of my Jim Lee collection. Um, and these are I think I have like maybe two more comics in this Superman run that Jim Lee did that I don't have yet, but I pretty much have the complete run. Um, I also have the complete run. So I um I have I used to live in South Korea. So I lived in Seoul for over a decade. I also lived in Japan for some time. And uh, some of my belongings remain there. Like I have baseball cards because I wasn't able to bring it all back, but I have like baseball cards and some books there. Um, you know, because from time to time I go back. Um, so right now I do have another full run of Superman comics, but those are not high grade. I got them off eBay really cheap, the full run, because when it first came out, I was like, I have to read this. Um, and I wasn't into collecting at that time, but when I learned that Jim Lee was doing Superman, I was like, I've got to read this. So I got the full run off eBay and read it and loved it. Um, Amazing art. And I was just so like excited that because it's one thing when he was doing X-Men, it was like that, that was just like the book I was reading at the time and collecting at the time. But in terms of like, and I've mentioned this many times before, in terms of my favorite superhero and who my favorite character is, it's Superman. Superman's like, because I'm an immigrant. I also was like a kid when, I was like 6 years old or 5 years old when the Christopher Reeves Superman came out. So it's like when that came out, that was just like as a kid, it just blows your mind, and it's um, yeah, the superhero movie that kind of inspires you. So big Superman fan, and yeah, again, so when he did this run, I got it. So I still have a complete run of that in Korea, along with some other graphic novels and whatnot, and baseball cards. So hopefully I'll make a trip out to South Korea soon, um, when it's safe to, and bring all that stuff back. And then, yeah, it'll just be added to my collection of books. These are higher grades, so let's just go through them. So this is 204. And now I have so I have 4 copies of 204. This is and I also have the Superman limited edition statue, the ceramic statue that came out around this time. I think they only made 3,500, 3,500, and it's numbered. So there's only 3,500 copies of the statue. But I have that. And yeah, it's just, this is like, in terms of images, this is like one of my favorite Jim Lee covers. And there's a mirror image with Batman 612, the variant cover. And again, I have that one too. Both of those are signed and they're at CGC. So when I get them back slab, they're just going to look really cool when I, juxtapose them and they're facing each other. So I'm just really excited to get that back. And I also had it, Jim Lee, when he signed it, I also had him kind of customize the cover, like write a specific thing. And so if you're curious as what that is, you can go to my previous videos where I talk about it, or go to my Instagram and see the photos. But again, I'm going to save that reveal for a future video. 204. Okay, so 204, we have 205. These are all just amazing, amazing covers. There's an interior, or maybe as a promotional panel, but there's this one where it's a black background, it's Superman kind of like close up, and it's just his eyes are red, right? I think everybody's seen that image, but that's just such a menacing image, right? And when you think about like what Superman can do just with his heat vision, like, right? Like he could, I mean, he doesn't even have to pull out his super strength. He could just destroy things with his heat vision. So that image is a really menacing and frightening one. And this sort of captures that as well. You see his heat vision's about to come out with all these like bombs and explosives around him. So that's a really cool image there. This is 206. 207. 208. This is another favorite of mine because it has him. It has they call it the Trinity, him, Wonder Woman, and Batman, but also other members there. It could be, I don't know. I just I don't recall the specific reason those other characters are there. I got 2 copies of this one. I think I actually have 3 copies of this one. This is another favorite of mine. It's just a great shot of Diana kind of like, about to mortally wound or destroy Superman. She's got her lasso around him. That's cool. And then here's another great shot. So that was 210. This is 211. Great shot of them fighting. Both in this run and in Frank Miller's The Dark Knight, I think it's the Dark DK2 it's the follow-up to The Dark Knight Returns. And that book was just really weird. It was like a commentary on, I think it was a political commentary on mass media and politics. But it was just, the story was just, I didn't like it. Obviously Dark Knight Returns was great, but that story was just more, I mean, it had elements of like Frank Miller's work, but it just, there wasn't any cohesion to the story. But anyway, both this and that allude to a romantic relationship between Superman and Wonder Woman. And I think there have been other works that link the two. And it makes sense, right? Because they're just both a Superman and a Superwoman, essentially. And I don't mind that, actually. I think they'd make a great couple. I'm all for it. This cover, oh man, I've mentioned it before. It was a cover in my comic battle tournament, and I think this ended up winning, or maybe not. Maybe I have to go back and check. But this is another great cover, just because it's really sort of like 2 tones. It has that reverse negative effect. It's just amazing to look at. It's mesmerizing. So 612, 613. This is another great cover of his heat vision. 613 and 614. That's I think there's one more. 615 is the last one. I don't have that copy, so that's one I have to add. And then I think there's another. There are a few more other like preview issues maybe that that Jim Lee also worked on that I'd like to pick up. So, but that is pretty much the run there. Here is another 204, another 208. And this is a favorite of mine because it, again, it's showing that there's, yeah, that they're romantically involved. A great sort of like cover. This cover is pretty cool. I like the colors. Yeah, Superman and Wonder Woman are having a very passionate moment there. Okay, the next book here, this is cool. I picked this up for essentially I picked it up for like $2.50, so half price books. I got it for half price the cover. And this is like a metal foil cover, but it's a really cool sort of like Batman in a different kind of suit. It's more, you know, looks like it's like more of an armored suit, whereas in the past, like if you look at Batman Hush, that's more of your typical Batman suit. This is sort of yeah, you've got these like gloves that are different, the utility belt's different, and the bat logo is a little different there. But yeah, Joker, Green Lantern on the cover. This is, I believe this is like, you know, technically it's the first mention of the Joker or the Batman Who Laughs. But I may be wrong. And then we have Justice League number 9, Justice League number 10, and I this is another run I want to complete. So I'm hoping to get Justice League 1 through, you know, whatever the run ends at. These are all amazing covers, and you really see like Jim Lee's work on the modern covers here, as opposed to like the Copper Age covers. They're both great, but you see how far the digital process has enhanced the art. Everything is just cleaner, has more detail, and the colors just are amazing. So, and the shading and the colors are amazing. So yeah, these more modern books, I think anything late 80s and beyond, you just see you see a real improvement in the art quality. This is sort of like a controversial book. When you have a writer like Frank Miller and an artist like Jim Lee collaborating and working together, you expect something amazing, right? And I think everybody, when this first came out, they're thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be like Batman Hush, right? It's going to be in that. And the artwork doesn't disappoint. I think where it falls short, a lot of people critique the story, that the story wasn't, it was just weird. But yeah, this is the first issue in the series, but a variant cover of Robin. The original cover is of Batman. This is of Robin, and this is the second issue in the run. I could have picked up more, and I may at some point. I do want to try to get all these Batman and Robins, but they're not priority books for me. So if I can pick them up, cheap and in decent shape, the one I The ones I had an opportunity to pick up, but weren't all that, were in good grade, and they weren't really covers that, that kind of, you know, basically I didn't want to pick them up until later. So, and I'll go into the books that I am targeting for the Jim Lee collection toward the end. All right, so that is sort of like, I guess, like some of the DC books in my Jim Lee collection. And so you probably noticed I didn't have a lot of Batman Hush issues of the Batman Hush run, and there's a reason for that, because they are they are very expensive and high demand, in demand books. If you look at Batman 612, which is the first issue in that run, I'm not talking about the variant cover. I'm talking about the standard cover. That is easily, you know, a $30 book. And then the next issue, 613, the one with Poison Ivy on the cover, that's like a $50 book. High grade, probably more. And then you have like subsequent, so they're all kind of in that $20 to $40 range for every issue in that run. And I currently have only 2 issues in that run, which is 612 and 614. And those are books that I'm targeting. So they're high priced books though. And again, it's probably going to take me some time to get them, but if I can find them reasonably priced, which I haven't at this point, they tend to be like, they tend to be in that range, like high 40s, 30s, right? Even on eBay, it's really hard to find them. I think you can get the whole run. I've seen the whole run for like, where you're paying like 15 to 20 per issue. And that's pretty good, but I mean, it's a lot of money for that. So that's something I may look into when I have money, but at the moment, I'm just picking up stuff on the cheap. And if you've seen my comic haul videos, you know I'm picking stuff up on the cheap. And yeah, I'm trying to kind of temper that because I'm realizing I'll pick something up that's cheap, but it's not necessarily something I want. So for example, I'll pick up like a $10 book for like $1 or maybe less, or even a $5 book for like, 35 cents. But I'm realizing to sell that book on Instagram is a big challenge. So I'm going to stop doing that until, I've gotten some recommendations about some channels I can sell on recently. My friend recommended this, I think it's a Japanese platform. And we'll see. We'll just have to see if there's comic book buyers there. But the fees are ridiculous. It's like 15%. That's worse than eBay. The reason I'm not doing eBay is because their charges are a little out of hand, and I've listed stuff and it didn't move. I mean, part of it is due because I've listed stuff that weren't that popular, and they weren't necessarily priced to move. So it is my fault that they didn't move, but I I don't see eBay as a real viable option. And so like I'm having trouble finding a a platform or channel or venue to showcase and sell my books. And I'm sure a lot of you maybe have that same difficulty, maybe not. Maybe you guys are more committed to selling than collecting. But for me, like when I get something, I tend to not want to part with it. And if I do want to part with it, I want to get good value for it. And that's not always, those always don't go together in tandem. But anyway, I'm just basically ranting now, and we're gonna stop the video here and come back with more of my Jim Lee collection. Here, stay tuned for part 3.